All right, it looks like I think we have a good group, so I'm going to get started. First of all, let me welcome you to our open forum for the Zarb School of Business. I'm Janet Lenahan, and I have the pleasure of serving as Dean of our business school. And I'm so glad all of you were able to join us this afternoon. Let me start by just, first of all, thanking all of you for your patience. I know that there is, a lot of uncertainty around what's happening in our world. And I just want to assure you that here at Hofstra, we have been working tirelessly this summer to create an environment for which it is safe for all of us to return. And I can tell you that spanned across the campus. So from, the president leading our efforts, to the provost's office, to all of the schools, to all of our faculty, to our chairs, to the deans, to our operations people, to our plant people, to our health facilities folks. Everybody has student services. Everyone has worked together to ensure a smooth transition back to campus next month. And I just have to say, it hasn't been easy, right? I think all of us agree that, what we understand today might be different tomorrow. And I think the key thing about what we're learning is flexibility. And so we've tried to be very flexible and adaptable as we're navigating this changing time. And so, Ariel, if you would just go back to that slide before, I'm sorry. Okay. And so, one of the things that doesn't change, right? I mean, is the fact that here at Hofstra, we're here to support you. And there's a lot of people and a lot of different avenues for you to pursue to get the support you need. So from an academic standpoint, right, we have the dean's office, and on this call today, we have a number of the deans, right? I'm just going to introduce them and they're going to give a little wave. Dean Viswanathan is here to help. Dean Vickery, here to help. Dean Greenbaum, here to help, right? Our chairs are here. We have Dr. Burke, the chair of accounting. We have Dr. Kay, our chair of the finance department. Dr. Foreman in marketing. Dr. Pelez, our IS-BAN chair. And of course, Dr. Semgupta is chair of the management department, but for our graduate students on the call, he is also associate dean for graduate programs. And of course, we have Dean Oppenheimer's here as well, dean of advisement, to help really answer your questions today. And also just know that we're here to help as we navigate these changing times. And there's also a lot of resources you have available to you on the student life side. You can see some of the offices that are up here on the slide. Just know that all of these people collectively are here to help you. And so please reach out and make sure that you get your questions answered. The best resource to go in terms of our safe return to campus is actually our Safe Start website, and that should be up the URL in our chat room. I really encourage you to go there because that is being maintained constantly. So it's really the latest information that we have will be on that website. And so I encourage you to take advantage of that. As future leaders of business, you really want to look at this time as an opportunity to recognize, right, the importance of flexibility and adaptability in terms of meeting organizational outcomes, because that's what we're doing here at Hofstra, and that is what organizations are doing really across the world. And so we, as a university, are really being very flexible. And one of the things we recognized we needed to do was really be flexible in our approach to our course delivery model. And so what you'll see is we have a whole host of different ways that you'll take your classes. So for example, we certainly have and continue to offer our traditional face-to-face classes. But the difference will be, as you see on the slide in the background, we will maintain our 6 feet social distancing and everyone will be in their masks. And that class will be run as typical, right, and traditional that you're familiar with. But we also have different modalities. We have online courses, online synchronous courses, and online asynchronous courses. Our online synchronous courses are really meant to meet as if it was during your scheduled time. So if your class normally was scheduled, let's say on a Tuesday, Thursday from 9:35 to 11, you will meet with your faculty member at that time. The only difference is you won't meet in person. You will meet virtually. And so many of you participated in these types of classes in the fall, and our incoming freshmen, you probably did the same in terms of the spring, working with your high school classes as well. So it's very much similar to this, where faculty are interacting with you, and they'll be sharing resources online, virtually, in real time, and you will be participating in real time during your scheduled class. But we also offer online asynchronous courses, and those courses are meant to be more flexible in terms of when you actually engage with the material. So these courses are where the faculty member will be working with you asynchronously. So the students will be working on their own schedule, and the faculty member may have you come together as a group, a couple of times through the semester, perhaps once a week. Every faculty member kind of approaches it differently. But the model here and the goal here is to provide the ultimate flexibility for people, and I know a lot of graduate students are on the call with us today, and for graduate students, there are many classes that are asynchronous to allow for you to engage with the course when is convenient for you. Now, we also have something we're calling AB courses, and you'll see this on your schedule. What these mean is that because we want to be very safe to the extent that we possibly can, we are actually going above and beyond the CDC guidelines, and we are incorporating not only that every person in our community will wear their masks when they are in the buildings, but also that every one of our classes has 6 feet social distancing. So you'll see on the picture behind the slide there, the students are 6 feet apart. That is how our classes will be. And so in our AB format, in order to maintain that safe distance, we're going to have your faculty member will talk with you about having half the students come in one class. Let's say if it's a 2-day-a-week class, let's say it's a Monday, Wednesday class, half the students would come in on Monday and the other half of the students would come in on Wednesday. And when it's not your turn to participate in person, you will be participating remotely. So you will be engaging with that material remotely. In a hybrid format, some of you will see that on your schedule as well. Those classes will, again, offer some combination of face-to-face and remote or online. And so that will be, very much a function of how the material is best covered. And so your faculty member will talk to you about the specifics of what that hybrid class will look like. But what I can assure you is all of these methods, the faculty have thought about how they're going to make sure that they combined all of the different methods to ensure that our students are learning are covering the learning outcomes that the course has identified. So in addition to the delivery method of your courses, right, life at Zarb is going to change. And so I already talked about one way that it'll change, right, in that everyone will be wearing their masks, right, and they will also be social distancing. But that's just not only in the classroom. That is throughout our campus. And one of the things that I think differentiates Hofstra University and a Hofstra University experience is our community is very caring. And so that remains the same. And because of that, we really owe it to each other, are responsible to each other to make sure that we engage in these safety protocols, because all of this was developed to keep us as safe as possible. And so the wearing of masks is critically important. Everyone in the community will need to wear masks. We will need to engage in social distancing. The classrooms will actually be marked where you won't be able to sit in chairs. So we'll make sure that everyone remains 6 feet apart, but there'll be all kinds of signage as well around our campus. I can tell you that our plant department has been working 24/7 to make sure that everyone has everything they need to be safe. There'll be wipes throughout the buildings that we can use, hand sanitizers. There'll be, if you forget your mask, there'll be extra masks in the hallways of our buildings. And the key is that everyone really needs to make this commitment to each other, because that's what makes Hofstra special. We do care about each other, we're committed to each other, and we're committed to making sure that everyone stays safe. Our student spaces, we love our new building, and our incoming freshmen, our building is phenomenal. Ask an upperclassman, they will tell you. But we're going to have to approach all those great spaces that we have a little differently. We're not going to be able to have 4 people in one of our huddle rooms because we can't maintain our 6 feet social distancing then. So we're going to have to limit. But there's all kinds of tools that you can still meet virtually. You know, in Zarb, we like our team projects, and many of your faculty will ask you to engage in team projects. You can still do that. Okay, you won't be able to use our great new spaces to do that, but there's tools that you have available to you where you can meet virtually to accomplish the same thing, right? Same thing with our faculty office hours. They will be, for the most part, virtually, and your faculty will tell you about when they will be scheduled and be available to meet with you, just like they always have. They will still be available. Again, you know, when we think about differentiators of Hofstra University, it's our faculty. You know, they really support that caring environment, and they partner with you on your career, on your journey to help you, you know, achieve your career goals. And so that will continue, but they're not going to be able to just stop by and have a chat, you know, with 10 people standing around, right? We want to make sure that we're being socially distanced, so we might have to schedule some of those calls, right? And we'll do that, you know, through all the virtual tools that we have. Same thing with our student clubs and organizations. You know, at Zarb, we have over 40 student clubs between our undergraduate and our graduate program. And this is a critical component to your student experience. And the clubs are already, I can tell you, already engaged and thinking about different events and thinking about, you know, how we continue to do what we do, but do it virtually. And so there'll be a lot of club events and meetings and things like that, all done virtually using the different tools that we have at our disposal. The most important thing is stay engaged. It doesn't matter that you'll be meeting virtually. All the great things that you have come to know at Hofstra University will continue. They'll just be a little different, right? They'll be virtual, a lot of it. And when we're in our buildings and when we are on our campus, we're all going to be committed to wearing our mask and staying socially distanced and taking care of each other. In addition, it's important to know that as a university, we're going to continue to offer all the great events that we've always offered. So we actually have one coming up that I want to tell you all about. For all of you that might be baseball fans, we actually have the commissioner of Major League Baseball, Rob Manfred, and the president of the New York Yankees, Randy Levine, speaking with us on September 14th. This will be a virtual event open to all of our community. And this is what makes Zarb Zarb. It's the fact that we bring in top CEOs and top leaders who are willing to talk with our students. So those great conversations will still happen. The strong connections that we have to each other, to our alums, you will still see. And there'll be great opportunities for our students. I can tell you that, you know, we are always continuously working on internship opportunities and co-op experiences. You know, last spring, we had 100% of our co-op students, this is a graduate program, all get placed in internships. They were virtual internships, but they still had meaningful experiences. And so all the great things that you know about Zarb continue, but we need you to partner with us on this journey over the next semester, because it's going to be critically important that together we keep our campus safe. And so what I wanted to do now is turn it over to Dean Oppenheimer, who I know wanted to talk with you all a little bit more about some of the academic stuff, and then we wanted to leave plenty of time to answer all of your questions. Mark?
Thank you so much, Dean Lenahan, and thank you all for attending. We are excited to be welcoming you back to campus shortly, and we're all excited to be assisting you through this very tricky process, but we have a lot of information to share with you. And I actually wanted to jump right in and answer one of the questions that I see that speaks to kind of how you're going to start to plan for your fall semester coming up. So a couple of you have already begun asking, how will you know if your course is an A-B style course? And the answer to that is we expect to be sending all undergraduate students an email next week from the Center for University Advising that will include a copy of your schedule along with a reminder of how to decipher which sections are online, hybrid, A/B, or traditional on-campus courses. We're hoping that once that communication gets to you, you'll have a better sense. Some of you have been carefully monitoring your schedules through the Hofstra portal, but it's been a very fluid process as our registrar has been working very hard in collaboration with our deans and faculty to adjust our course formats and the rooms to make sure we can adequately provide the social distancing that we need. So we want to ask you to stay tuned for an email that you're going to get next week that will allow you to really start to understand the formats of your specific courses. And that will be a good opportunity for you to then follow up with members of our community that include your Center for University Advising dean, your department chairs, and your faculty advisors to make sure that you are fully aware of how to approach your classes. So stay tuned for that message because that will be an important next step for you. We appreciate how patient everyone has been. As Dean Lenahan referenced, it's been a really big undertaking to make sure that we could review and adjust the fall courses to make sure that we have the safest possible community on campus for our students, staff, and faculty. And we think we have that. So we're excited about the fall. We want to let you know that things are going to be different. You know, the modes of delivery are obviously going to be different than what you are used to. But I can tell you that the level of teaching and the educational experience you're going to get in the classes will still be the same top-notch experience that you expect from Hofstra. And your faculty are working so hard right now to prepare for you for the upcoming semester. So I want to tell you that I think a lot of helpful information is coming. And also, when the email goes out, we also expect that the Hofstra portal will be updated so that the lookup classes function will allow you to also, if you're planning to make any adjustments to your schedule, identify courses that are specifically hybrid, A/B, online, or in person, in case you're trying to make specific adjustments to your schedule. So thank you, Dean Lenahan. I'm excited to help answer questions as we move through the webinar.
Terrific. So I just happened to click on and saw a couple of questions from our graduate students. And so I just wanted to talk a little bit about graduate, and of course Dean Samgupta is here, and I'm sure he'll jump in you know, to add to what I say. So one of the question was, you know, if my graduate class meets once a week, how does the how does an A/B mode work? Do I go in person every other week? And the answer is yes. And your faculty will talk more about that with you. So definitely reach out to your faculty. But yes, it'll be the same type of notion. Again, because we want to make sure that we're socially distanced in the classroom, we will be splitting the students, right, to come in to maintain that safety environment. But again, you'll be participating in the class. You would just be participating remotely when it's not your time to be in the class in person. Dean Samgupta, did you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I'm just going to follow up. There's a question on that. We actually sent an email out yesterday to all the graduate students regarding the modalities of the classes that you talked about, Dean Lenahan. So the point I'm just adding to that point to say that you have the choice regarding how you want to take your course. So if you're planning to do an online only semester, if you are in a face-to-face class, I don't think any of our grad courses, most of them are going to be the hybrid AB or online, but you should talk to me and email me if you have any concerns about the schedule once the information becomes available on the portal as to what format your particular course would be in. So the email that was sent out yesterday was kind of generic, but you need to look at your own schedule and get back to me if you have specific questions regarding your schedule.
Great, thank you. And so I noticed a question, will the Bloomberg terminals be open for students in the Student Managed Investment Fund? Of course, we need our student managed our analysts for our Smith Fund to continue working and monitoring the performance of the portfolio and making recommendations. And so yes, the Bloomberg terminals will be open, but that makes me think of maybe a little larger question is, so how does that work in terms of the equipment? And I know there's some concerns around that. So there will be wipes available as soon as you walk in. So our cybersecurity lab, which is fabulous and has all kinds of great equipment, our behavioral lab, same thing, all different types of monitors, and the training room. And so when you walk in, you can grab a wipe, and this is true even if it's just a traditional classroom, wipe down your space and then sit down. There's a lot of hand sanitizer that's there as well, and we really want you to use all of the PPE that is available. Let's see. Graduate student, right? In the co-op MBA, I enrolled in the online section of Finance 203, which doesn't last the full semester. Okay, so what I'm going to say, because I'm noticing some of these are a little bit more specific. And so one of the things that kind of goes back to what I said in the very beginning. We want you to reach out to us and talk through a lot of these issues. When we look at schedules, a lot of the conversations are very individual and very specific to your needs. And we want to make sure that the course schedule you have helps accomplish and accommodates what you're looking to do. And so, in terms of a specific class or, how does it fit in your schedule, you have a wealth of support for you. So on the undergraduate side, you have Dean Oppenheimer and his staff always, ready to help. And I know they have some drop-in sessions, and I'll turn it over to Dean Oppenheimer to talk a little bit about that. And for our graduate students at Zarb, reach out to Dean Samgupta, reach out to Lisa Welch. They will walk you through your schedule because it really is an individualized discussion. Mark, did you want to add anything to that?
Sure. I wanted to respond. I'm going to actually cluster in and answer to one of the questions that will be, I think, relevant to the conversation. A student is asking, what if they are in an AB course and they're unable to get back to campus for their in-person classes? The email that all undergrads are going to receive next week, which will confirm your schedule and again reiterate the modes of delivery, will also include a link for those students who are unable to return to campus due to COVID-related reasons, so that we're aware that you are unable to return and we can engage you both through the Center for University Advising and your academic department on how to best approach the fall semester courses. So we're hoping that when you get the information from us next week, it will be helpful in terms of clarifying what your baseline schedule is. And then we'll encourage you to let us know if you do have any questions, concerns, or if you have already determined that you'll need to study remotely this fall. And we will be engaging you at that time to work on your schedule for the fall to make sure that you're in courses that are appropriate for being able to study remotely during the semester. It is our goal to work with every student to make sure that we can create an environment that does not in any way disrupt their academic progress. And so we're going to be collaborating the academic departments, the Center for University Advising, to make sure that we can support students. And so again, on that, you'll want to stay tuned for the guidance. There are some courses that will not be based on the nature of their course, a course that would typically be able to be delivered remotely. And so if you're in one of those courses, which is more of the minority, then you will get guidance on how to find an appropriate alternative. But we are prepared to make sure that the burden of this process is on us, the advisors, and Hofstra, and not on the student. So we look forward to being able to assist all of you with that process as well. To Dean Lenahan's question about some drop-in and quick question hours, we also expect, since this email will go out sometime next week, that the following week we're going to have a significant number of quick question hours that we'll offer up to students, at least 5 hours at the start of the week, so we can invite students to connect with any number of our advising deans to ask more specific questions that they may have. So information about those quick question hours will be included in the email that goes out next week as well.
I saw a question about changing class times. And you know what, as I said in the beginning, right, we are trying to be as flexible as possible to accommodate, right, the safety and safety of everyone on our community. So we were thinking that we might need to change some course time. So if you happen to have seen that last week, we were thinking along those lines. But you know, a great leader has to be adaptable and has to be flexible. And when we really looked at it a little more carefully, we realized that, you know what, the current times, the way we have them, our existing class times work well. And so you'll notice that actually your schedule has returned back to our traditional class times. Those of you, though, that have back-to-back classes, and what you're going to find, you know, in Zarb, we have our beautiful classroom building, CV Star, and often most of our classes are right there. But given the need to make sure that we're safe and have socially distanced classes, you're going to find that some of your classrooms are now in places that we haven't ever, you know, held class before. And because of that, we're going to make sure that faculty are flexible in terms of if you have back-to-back classes and maybe you'll need a few more minutes to get there, because unlike just being all in CV Star, you might be walking across campus, or you need to leave that class a little early to do the same thing. Faculty understand that and are certainly going to be flexible in terms of the ability to make sure you get to where you need to go.
I want to respond to one of the questions, and I'll invite up our faculty and chairs to also weigh in. One of the students asks, if a student decides to take courses completely remote, will their current registered courses support this decision, or would they need to redo the schedule? I'm anticipating, and I welcome the feedback of the faculty, that, you know, many courses will be taking places in classrooms that have lecture capture and other technology that has been installed to provide the flexibility as needed for situations where students are unable to attend. However, it is going to be a scenario where we are going to, once we start to ask you to officially elect remote learning, which you'll do when you get the email sometime next week, that we'll be able to work together with your departments to make sure that we can identify whether there are any courses that need to be adjusted. We suspect that many courses will remain on your schedule and be adaptable, but it's going to really be a specific review of your schedule that we need to do, and then we will provide you with feedback to make sure that you're in the right courses. If you're in a course that needs to be adjusted, again, our Center for University Advising and academic departments will guide you through that process. But I welcome my academic colleagues to speak a little bit about their perspective on the remote learning aspect of courses for the fall.
And so, Mark, I think I can answer that because I've been meeting with the chairs and meeting with our faculty. And, I think what Dean Oppenheimer just said, is very true. Again, it goes back to those individual conversations in terms of your schedule. Every student can take their schedule remotely, but we might have to make accommodations in that schedule and changes in that schedule that best reflects your goal and your path, because everyone is different. And so again, it's really important that as soon as that form becomes available, you fill it out, reach out to your advisors. You could certainly reach out to the chairs, to the dean's office, and to your faculty to talk about, that remote learning and what it would look like, and is your current schedule really the best schedule to accomplish all that you're looking to accomplish. I saw another question on here about our marketing research lab. Will it be open and will you have access to it? And the answer is yes, definitely. Dr. Mather is our director of the market research lab and the business lab. But again, it'll be different than what you're used to. Because we want to maintain our 6-foot social distancing, and everyone will be in their masks. So the studies will be done, but they'll be done just a little bit differently than we've done in the past to ensure that we're maintaining that safe environment. And so you can certainly reach out to Dr. Mather, the chair of the marketing department, and talk more about that if you want to get engaged with some of the studies that are being done there. I'm just looking through. Bronca, I don't know, maybe if you can respond just in general about international students. I know there was a question about international students.
Let me try to address the questions on international students. You must be in contact with the International Student Affairs Office. I did not read through the specific questions, and I'm not sure if that has to do with move-in or testing or logistics of moving in, but International Student Affairs would be the place to go. International Student Affairs at hofstra.edu.
Dean Lenahan, there's a question on from one of the participants about the possibility of doing the spring semester study abroad courses. I don't know what you want to respond to that.
Sure, of course. I mean, at Zarb, right, we really do believe, and you'll find this in all of your classes, we recognize all business is global, and so we always encourage global experiences for our students when it is safe to do so. And so we will be monitoring, just like all of you will be, what's happening in the world. And, as soon as it's safe for us to be able to return to study abroad opportunities, we'll do that because we believe in those and we're committed to those, but only when we can do so safely.
Janet, there's also a question about internships. What was it? Somebody asked something about internships.
Okay, so I'll talk in general, and then maybe Ariella, you can kind of jump in and kind of maybe start asking the questions. It might be easier. But internships, as I said earlier, our co-op students and many of our undergraduate students actually were able to do their internships remotely. A lot of our accounting students working in, the big 4 accounting firms and other medium-sized and small firms were all able to continue to have their internships. They were just done virtually or remotely. And so our Career Center staff is working very hard, both for the undergraduate students and our graduate students, to continue to create those opportunities for you. As I said, earlier, right, what makes your Zarb experience, we think top notch is really those opportunities to connect with alums, to connect with different opportunities to engage in experiential learning, and that's still going to happen. It probably will happen differently. Many companies, as you know, are not bringing back employees, or if they do, they're bringing them back, to lower the density in their organizations. And so they're moving internships virtually, but we are still working very closely with our corporate partners. We're proud of the relationships that we have with them to secure opportunities for our students.
We have a question about the in-person learning courses. Are the room assignments final, or are they subject to change?
So, as I said earlier, flexibility is really important. We're working hard to finalize the schedule, but sometimes there's changes. We think right now what you're looking at, and when Mark actually sends out that email, as he spoke about earlier, that is our best, feeling in terms of your schedule. But there may be last minute changes, as there is in any semester, that sometimes rooms have to change. But when you get your course schedule, again, reach out to your advisor or your department chair, the dean's office, to have those conversations.
And following up on that, are classrooms and desks cleaned after each class?
Okay, that's a great question. And again, it goes back to, the cleaning protocols are extensive on our campus. And if you go to that Safe Start website, you will see them all detailed there. Our facilities team has been really working tirelessly to make sure that our campus is clean and will continue to be clean. In terms of your own workstation, again, there's wipes, so you can walk in and wipe it down, so you can feel comfortable and confident that you've wiped it down to the level that you're comfortable with.
Our incoming first-year students are curious about a deadline for switching classes or formats in case one modality isn't working for them.
Mark, I'll let you answer that.
Sure, yeah. So I will actually, after I start answering, I will go online and post a link into the chat in terms of the official program change deadlines. But I wanted to highlight, and this is not just for new students, this is for all students, that you have until August 30th, which is the end of the first full week of the semester, to add and drop via your Hofstra portal with no penalties or fees. That's the standard process. You always have through the end of the first week to make changes online. From there, after the first week, students are able to make changes to their schedule, but require an override from a faculty member. So it's the standard process wherein the first week is an open drop add period. And then there usually is another couple of week period where, with the permission of a faculty member, you'd be able to enter his or her class. So I will share those dates and deadlines, and certainly students will have the first week to easily attend courses and then work with the Center for University Advising if they want to explore some changes to their schedule. I'm keeping in mind that, because there are a combination of on-campus, in-person, online and hybrid courses, if students are seeking to change to all face-to-face, for example, it may not end up being possible, but we will do our best, because it's likely that most students will have at least one hybrid or online class in their fall semester schedule. But we're going to be working with students throughout the advising period, and actually the first 2 weeks of the semester will be completely drop-in quick question hours in the Center for University Advising. And we'll be doing that virtually via Zoom, so that no matter where you are on the campus, in the state, in the country, or in the world, you can access an advising dean to discuss possible options. So I'm gonna put those dates in the chat in just a moment.
I would like to correct myself regarding the international students. The email is international@hofstra.edu. And I would like to address the question about, can an international student take all online classes? As of today, according to the visa requirements, yes, you are able to take your classes online from your home country. These are the visa requirements, but please email international@hofstra.edu to discuss your specific situation.
And I can add, if you're a continuing student, then you will certainly be able to take all of your courses online. If you are an incoming first-time full-time student, then it is required that at least one of your courses be in person or hybrid, is my understanding. So there's different distinctions for incoming versus continuing. And so the best thing to do is to contact the International Student Affairs Office for specific feedback about your situation, and they'll be able to clarify for you, because the federal regulations have been evolving, as you all know, and we're getting new updates by the minute.
We have a question. If a course starts out as online only, can that change during the fall semester to another modality?
No, once a course is designated as online, it will remain online. And the faculty member will be very clear in their syllabus about if there's a synchronous component, if it's online synchronous or online asynchronous, as well as that'll be designated on your schedule too. So you will know that going into the semester.
Can I just clarify also, when I was making comment about the international students, I was referring to if you're a first-time incoming international student and you wish to study from the US, but take all your online classes, that's not an option. If you're a new student, you need at least one course. If you're living in your home country, then we have flexibility in terms of the modalities, whether you're an incoming student or a new student. There are only distinctions if you are trying to study from the United States and be completely online. That is, as far as I understand, not an option for first-time, full-time incoming students. But that, again, that is something that we encourage you to reach out to International Student Affairs to confirm.
Dr. Sengupta, there's a question from a graduate student who would like to know, do graduate students have the opportunity to take classes in person, or are we required to take our classes online only?
Again, that whatever we've said before works here too for graduate students. That give me 1 second. Sorry, I was on mute. What I was saying was that please look at your schedule and see what modality your particular courses are in. And if you have only online courses, obviously it'll be only online. If you have the other modality, F2F or hybrid courses, then we'll have to talk to the faculty member to see how they're going to run it, basically. So again, please email me if you have concerns about your specific course schedule.
And I know there was a lot of questions around testing, I believe, Ariella, in the chat. And so, let me just preface this by saying I am not a public health expert, and that's why it really is important for you to go to that Safe Start website, because that's where all the information is. And there's a hotline that you can use that's clearly indicated on that website, as well as a form that you can fill out, and we're answering those questions quickly. Just a general overview, we are offering, and we're one of the few places that actually is doing student testing on our campus, and we're engaging in surveillance testing as well, where we'll ensure that we're monitoring the prevalence rate. And so we have a great partner with Northwell. Many of you know our medical school is part of Northwell, and Northwell has partnered with us in terms of our student health center and conducting all the testing. And so there's great information on that website. I really encourage you to take some time and read through it. And use the hotline, use the questionnaire that's the form that's on there for you to get any questions answered that you need.
I would like to address the question about if you decide to take all of your classes online, what do you do with the housing deposit that you already did make? You have 5 business days before the first day of classes to request cancellation of your housing. You need to, if you don't cancel housing by emailing reslife@hofstra.edu, you will be billed for housing. Although all your courses are online, we don't. The ResLife doesn't know that. You have to request by emailing reslife@hofstra.edu to cancel the housing and dining plan.
We have a question. How will we be notified of the assigned modality of our course? Will the course ID or title change, or should we just watch our email to hear from our professor?
So thanks, Ariella. One of the reasons why I haven't sent out my email yet is we're waiting for confirmation from our registrar, who's been working nonstop to confirm not only the modes of delivery, but a coding system that will allow students to be able to better understand by looking at the course online what the mode of delivery is. So we're anticipating that when my email is sent out sometime next week, that there will be an indicator of some kind within the course information that will allow the student to understand whether it's an AB or whether it's asynchronous or synchronous. And so I think that information we anticipate will be part of the communication that gets sent out by me on behalf of the Center for University Advising sometime next week.
We have a student asking, where can I see if my classes are in person or not?
Currently, if you visit your Hofstra portal, you would see the up-to-the-minute kind of reflection of the status of your courses, but we want to caution you to wait for that updated information to come to your email next week, because there are a small number of courses being finalized, and your schedule doesn't give you specific information about whether you're an AB course. But if you look at your course schedule at for the fall to get a baseline sense of where you stand, those courses that are listed as having an actual location for the classrooms and days and times are courses that as of now are most likely to be in-person courses. So while that is subject to change, while we confirm the last, maybe 1% of the courses that are being confirmed for the fall, that will give you a sense as of right now. But I want to caution everyone to wait until next week when all the course information has been finalized.
Thank you. Dean Lenahan or Viswanathan, can you elaborate on the 30% capacity cap in the classrooms?
So really, what it is a 6-foot social distancing. So again, at Hofstra, because we are a caring community, and I think one of the reasons we're all proud to be a part of Hofstra is because we take that seriously, right? We take our commitment to each other very seriously. And so the university went beyond what the guidelines were for the CDC, from the CDC, and actually are implementing the 6-foot social distancing in our classroom as well as the masks. But, when you think about that, 6 feet, social distancing for every person, it changes the capacity of a classroom. And so we are going to meet that standard. But as a result of that, you will see lower number of people in a class. So the 30% is a kind of rough estimate in terms of really what that 6-foot social distancing looks like, because it really depends on the layout of the classroom and desks and so forth. But what I can assure you is that in every one of your classes, you will be 6-foot social distance. In fact, again, the plant department has done a superb job. And when Dean Viswanathan and I were in CV Star the other day, and every seat is marked off. You cannot sit there to make sure that we all know, because it would be hard to know what is 6 feet. It's marked. So we'll be sure that we're staying 6 feet apart from each other in our classrooms. And so your A/B format will be the same way in terms of when you're in that class. So you'll see it's going to be a normal, regularly scheduled class. You will have a room. a number indicated on your schedule, and your faculty will tell you when you should be attending that class in person and when you should be attending that class remotely.
We have a question about professors or students who test positive. Will classes be continued or canceled, individual classes?
Mark, did you want to answer that one, or?
I actually don't have the answer to that.
So from what I would definitely check the Safe Start website, for the protocols around that. And again, that's why some of the things that, we're doing is your faculty are going to ask you to sit in the same seat. They might assign you a seat so that they know where you're sitting, so that we can make sure that we're notifying, people as appropriate. But again, I'm not a public health care expert, nor is anyone on this call. So I would encourage you to, again, to go to that Safe Start website, and all the information that you need is there. And if not, use the hotline and use that form.
We have a question about the Bloomberg, the Smith and Bloomberg. Student would like to know if that space is how often that space will be available.
So again, we're going to have classes in the trading room. We'll have our Smith students in the trading room. When you all come back to campus, our upperclassmen, and when our freshmen arrive, you'll see that we did renovations in CV Star, and so the trading room got a refresh, and it looks amazing. I know Dr. K is very happy with the changes in the trading room, and so the trading room will be open, and the Smith students will be working, and all of the hours and availability will be posted. And the Smith students obviously should reach out to Dr. Zikowitz, the faculty advisor.
Yeah, we will continue to have open hours in the trading room. Again, as Dean Lanahan just mentioned, we will decide on what those hours are going to be, and those will be posted.
Ariella, I want to jump back to a question from earlier, which was from one of our international students who was asking about, if they needed to study from their home country, will the courses be accommodated? And again, I want to reiterate that we anticipate that absolutely being an option for them. And I want to encourage students, like the international student who asked the question, if they plan to study remotely, to let us know by way of the form that we'll send out sometime next week. And then whether it is the existing courses you're enrolled in, or whether we suggest appropriate alternatives, we're very confident that in either case, you will be able to persist and make appropriate progress, because we're committed to supporting you through that process.
Great. It's almost 5 o'clock. If anybody has anything else to add, or time for one more quick question.
I think we could do one more quick question, Ariella, if you have.
Okay. Student is asking about visitors in class and on campus. Where can they go if they wanted to wait for them? Are visitors allowed to come into the building and whatnot?
So Bronk, I don't know if you want to answer that from a student.
I'm very sorry. Can you repeat the question?
Or the exact question is, what about the visitors with students during class in campus? Will there be a place for them to wait?
Okay, so there will be a protocol for all visitors on campus, including parents and family. They will be required to complete a questionnaire, just like we have to do it, like employees have to do, to confirm that they have no COVID symptoms and no contact and no travel in the travel advisory states. And they will have to follow all the protocols, health and safety protocols, such as wearing the face covering, physical distancing, and following all the other guidelines in building and out of buildings on campus. But yes, it's possible to visit your student, but please know that there are very strict rules, and there are no there is no guest policy in the residence halls. You will not be able to enter the residence halls.
And I could just add to that and let you know that, normally in Zarb classes, we bring in executives and industry experts and thought leaders, and we'll be doing that, but only remotely. So so all of those guest speakers will be attending remotely using the technology, that we have. I also just wanted to answer one question that I saw in there. I think maybe it actually went away in terms of, faculty class assignments to faculty. Some of you might have seen some changes. And, that's why you really want to look carefully when you get that email from Mark's office, and really look carefully to see what your schedule is. And then again, reach out to your advisor. You have the ability to change, and we want you to make sure that the schedule meets all of your needs. All right, so I think that probably we're about to the time. I want to thank everyone for joining us again this afternoon. I hope that we answered your questions. And I guess I'll just leave you with this. Just know that, in a time when everything is so uncertain, the one thing you can be certain about is that the Hofstra community is really here to help you to navigate this. And we're going to do it together. And that's why, reach out, use all the resources that are available to you. Make sure that we answer, you get all your questions answered that you need. We're here to help. And, we're all looking forward to a safe return to campus next month. Thank you for joining.